On the evening of February 26, 2022, 22-year-old Oluwabamise ANyonwola finished work at Ajah in Lagos State, Nigeria, and headed to the BRT bus stop at Chevron in Lekki. It was around 7:30 p.m. Her plan for the evening was to board the bus to Oshodi on the Lagos mainland and then travel to her elder brother's home to spend the weekend. She had done similar journeys before. There was nothing about that evening that should have alarmed her. Bameish, as she was known to family and friends, was the last born of her parents and the youngest of 10 children. She was a fashion designer, young and hardworking, building her life in Lagos. That Friday evening, she boarded the BRT bus that would take her northward across the city toward her brother's house. Sadly, she never arrived. Almost immediately after boarding the bus, Bameish began to feel uneasy. The driver flirted with her and told her to sit at the back of the bus. At the time, she was the only passenger on board. The interior of the bus was dark. No security cameras were installed in the vehicle. Then, at least 2 other male passengers boarded the bus. After they entered, the driver stopped picking up additional passengers, which was unusual for a BRT bus that could carry 42 people and was supposed to stop at designated points to collect more passengers. The bus was moving with only a handful of people inside, heading into the night with a young woman who was already frightened. Bameish acted quickly. She grabbed her phone and recorded a video of the bus interior, making sure to capture the plate number identifier visible inside the vehicle. She sent the video to a friend through WhatsApp. She also sent voice notes telling her friend that something did not feel right, that the driver had been flirting with her, that the bus was dark, and that she was uncomfortable. Her friend, alarmed by what she was hearing, told Bameish to get off the bus at the next bus stop as soon as possible. Then came her last recorded voice note to her friend. In it, Bameish asked her friend to please pray for her. After that voice note, her phone went silent. Friends and relatives tried to reach Bameish through the rest of that evening and into the night. Every call went unanswered. She did not arrive at her brother's house as planned. No one knew where she was or what had happened to her. The following day, being February 27, 2022, she was officially reported missing. A search began across Lagos. Her details were shared across social media. Nigerians across the country began sharing her picture and what little information was known about her disappearance. The video she had sent from inside the bus became critical evidence. The plate number she had recorded was now in the hands of people determined to find out what had happened to her. Days passed with no news. Then, on March 7, 2022, 9 days after Bameish boarded that bus, her body was discovered near Kata Bridge on Lagos Island. She was found naked. Reports from eyewitnesses at the scene stated that Bameish had still been alive after she was thrown out of the moving bus, but that she could not be reached for treatment or rushed to a hospital in time to save her life. She died from her injuries before help could arrive. A pathologist at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital will later testify in court about the findings of the autopsy. Further findings will conclude that the cause of death was brain injury caused by blunt force trauma to the head. This simply meant that Bameish had been beaten before being thrown from the bus. After Bamish's disappearance became public, the bus driver abandoned his vehicle at the BRT terminal and fled Lagos. He was tracked to a community in the neighboring Ogun State by operatives of the Department of State Security, who arrested him and handed him over to the police. The driver, now identified as 48-year-old Andrew Nice, was taken into police custody for further interrogation and investigation. In his initial statement to investigators, Andrew confessed to forcing himself on Bameish and abandoning her after the violation. Strangely, he later changed his account entirely, withdrawing the confession and pleading not guilty to all charges. His revised story was that 3 armed men had hijacked his bus after boarding as passengers. He claimed that one of the men had come forward to the front of the bus as if to pay the fare, then threw something at his head and produced a gun, demanding his cooperation. He said he had been too frightened to resist and had done whatever the armed men told him to do. He told investigators that when the bus stopped near Kata Bridge, the men had dragged Bameish toward the door. He claimed he thought she was still holding onto an iron railing inside the vehicle and did not realize she had been dragged out. He said he drove away, believing she was still on the bus. When asked why he had not gone to the police immediately after the incident to report a hijacking and abduction, he had no answer to give. He also could not convincingly explain how a BRT bus designed for 42 passengers had ended up operating with only 4 people on board, contrary to the standard procedure of picking up passengers at designated stops throughout the route. Bameish's family, friends and many Nigerians rejected his account. His initial confession had admitted the violation. His subsequent silence and flight from Lagos immediately after the incident were not consistent with someone who had been an innocent bystander and victim of a hijacking. As the investigation developed, a further and disturbing dimension of the case emerged. At least 2 other women came forward with accounts of sexual assault and violation in circumstances connected to Andrew. Dr. Anosike and another woman, identified as Maryland, both reported being victims of violation by the same driver. The accounts meant that what happened to Bameish was not necessarily a single isolated act, but may have been part of a pattern of predatory behavior carried out using the bus as cover. The charges against Andrew were therefore expanded beyond the case of Bameish alone to include the assault of these other victims. The death of Bameish shook Lagos and Nigeria as a whole. Public protests erupted. Demonstrators gathered outside BRT terminals, demanding answers and accountability. The outcry was significant enough that the Lagos state government temporarily suspended BRT transport operations for several days. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu publicly vowed to pursue justice for Bameish and bring everyone involved to account. The Lagos State First Lady condemned the incident and used the case to call for the immediate installation of CCTV cameras in all BRT buses across the state, a basic security measure that had clearly been missing when Bameish needed it most.
But I picked her from Chevron, and I picked the other 3 guys at Agbigin. When those guys showed me the weapon, as I was saying, sir, I was I can't be myself anymore. Fears have come in me. So whatever the man on guns sit down there, whatever he told me, is what I do. When I follow that Carter bridge, after that overhead bridge, they ordered me to stop there. And when they ordered me to stop, so I should open the door. When I open the door, then they now track. When they come down, they now start dragging her down. When I saw she was crying for help, actually I'm helpless. So I was just thinking that she's inside the vehicle holding the iron. So I move on. I arrested her last night.
How did they arrest you?
Where I ran to was when the issue happened. I'm afraid.
The case went to court at the Lagos State High Court, sitting at Tafawa Balewa Square Annex. Andrew was charged with 5 counts covering murder, conspiracy, rape and sexual assault, including the assault of Dr. Anosike and Maryland, in addition to the murder and violation of Bameish. He pleaded not guilty to all charges. 11 witnesses testified for the state during the proceedings. The pathologist who conducted the autopsy gave detailed forensic testimony about the injuries found on Bamish's body. Digital evidence, including the video Bameish had sent from inside the bus showing the plate number identifier, as well as the voice notes she had sent to her friend, formed part of the prosecution's case. Andrew opened his defense on October 17, 2024, maintaining that he was innocent and had been the victim of an armed hijacking rather than the perpetrator of a crime. His legal counsel presented the hijacking account as the basis of his defense, arguing that he had acted under duress and had no involvement in what happened to Bameish. The court did not accept this account. The judge delivered her verdict and ruled that the Lagos state government had proved its case beyond a reasonable doubt. She found Andrew Nice guilty of murder. In pronouncing sentence, Justice Sunaike told the convicted man that he would be hanged by the neck until he was no more and asked God to have mercy upon him. Andrew was sentenced to death by hanging. His suspected accomplices, the men who had entered the bus and whose identities were never fully established, remained at large as of the time of sentencing. Bameish was 22 years old. She was the youngest child in a family of 10. She worked as a fashion designer, building her career in Lagos. She just wanted to get home. What do you think about this story? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel or page for more true crime stories.